viewing things objectively. And I know the feeling of when I see things clearly and when I don't. But I don't know how to sort of heal that part that's not letting me see the truth. I think, people lie to themselves all the time. I don't know. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's that filter that's sort of like protecting us in a way. Um, and I don't know. I think that's for me, what I realize, I don't know, maybe everyone's different, but for me, my process of healing is so slow. Like I could hear the same advice for 23 years, and then one day, oh, I get it now. Like that is so beautiful when that happens. It doesn't happen often, but I realize it happens when I'm ready, I guess. That's what I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
I would
Yeah.
ask you what your definition of healed is. Like what is it for you? Because if we know the goal, it makes it much simpler.
Yes. Well, okay. The all the trauma, PTSD, we're sort of like triggered by things, and it's just gonna go on forever and get worse unless we actually learn what those are and then try to heal them. So for me, the healing is knowing where it comes from. Just that understanding is so helpful. Because then when the trigger happens, I'm so much more self-compassionate, like, oh, you're not crazy and dumb and stupid and broken. This is from something that happened to you. And let's first acknowledge that and, you know, just understand it and then forgive yourself for being so mean to yourself for so long. And then somehow like some kind of wall melts away, and then I'm able to just step over it. I don't know, and then it's in the past. That's how it works for me.
So are you saying that for you, healing is understanding?
Yes.
Okay, so that's just important for you to know
And
for yourself.
because my number one problem is I hate myself. So but for the things that how I am. So then when I have reason to realize why I'm this way, I have a different view and a different lens, and I can go about it more with a self-compassionate, loving way instead of, I told you, like I bully myself all the time.
So for me, I hear where you're coming from. I'm going to give you also another perspective of what has helped me, and just you can incorporate it or, you know, attempt to, curiosity with that and see if it's even interesting. But I find that instead of trying to heal it in the sense of when I hear a lot of people say, I want to heal it, and even for myself, when I used to say I want to heal it, it was almost like I want it to go away.
Right.
Um, and then when I came from a place where I wanted to understanding is, I always say, is like knowing something. Knowing sugar's bad for us doesn't make us stop eating sugar.
Yeah.
We eat it anyway. So
Yeah.
knowing isn't the thing that moves the needle.
Okay.
So I think understanding its value is where you can cross the threshold. But the thing is, when it comes to trauma or anything in that negative space, people are like, how can I turn this into something good? It can never be something good. And the point is you're not trying to turn it into something good. You want to understand its utility. How has this shaped me as a person? And I think when we understand that part, then it helps us a little bit more. Like understanding that, like, I understand instead of saying, oh, I went through this, what I look at it and I say, I have a deeper understanding of how I work and how the world works and the communication in between, rather than trying to make it go away. It gives me a deeper layer of understanding, as you were saying. Like it's not just this like, understanding in itself, but I'm able to um it gives me it's like part of the way I operate through the world.
Yeah.
And it's like instead of kind of coming at it from a victimhood place,
Right.
I look at how something like that could empower me. Um,
Right.
there's this kind of grieving process of like something's very, very painful. But then I think healing is asking the question of who do I become? Or how do I face this? You
Okay.
know?
Right.
Um, so that's kind of just an interesting thing. The other thing you were asking before when we kind of coming back to the arc of the nefesh, of when we're feeling in, like, how do we kind of reposition ourselves when it comes to being in a negative space, um, in whatever format, right? And how do we get past all of that stuff? So there's a few things. Number one, mornings are very good because in the morning, your head is clear. You've slept and there's the clarity there. My meditation teacher always said, like, if you're trying to see yourself for who you really are, you can only see yourself in still waters. So, like a mirror, like you have to find it, there has to be complete stillness within the body and the mind.
Right.
So, one of the best places to kind of start building that muscle is in the morning.
True.
Um, and just asking yourself, even when it comes to like the nefesh, like what are you doing to nurture the nefesh? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, where are you nurturing it rather than haunting it more? Because especially nowadays with all these therapeutic tendency, like modalities, I would say, it's very similar to, I say, the concept of like, okay, when Moshe Rabbeinu went to get the Torah, right? He came back and they said that he had to cover his face. He had to wear a mask. And part of him having to wear a mask was that the light shone from his face so strongly. It was like when Hashem created the Aragonus, you could see from one end of the world to the other. Okay.
Right.
Now, the thing is that for somebody that doesn't have the ability to process that, that amount of light is so piercing and it can almost be harmful. Something that could be extremely healing can also be harmful. And I think it's the same thing when we think of like the internet or anything that we want to see. We want to see, right? So even
Right.
with our own selves, we want to see, but the problem is are we in a position to actually be able to see it, or is it actually harming us? So
Right.
even when it comes to like psychedelic experiences and all of those things, I always tell people to like, are you ready to see? And they're like, yes, I'm ready to see. And the question is like,
Right.
well, if you haven't built yourself to a place where like, first of all, why do you need to, right?
Right.
It's like somebody that it's like having a friend and saying, you need to tell me everything or I don't trust you. And it's just
Right.
like, well, that's not how relationships work.
Right.
Relationships work that you build trust
Right. Over time.
over time. So basically, by doing some of these practices, you're almost violating the trust of like human nature and the body and your own experience. If you
Right.
trust within yourself
Yeah.
and knowing that if your body at this point is telling you that maybe this and this isn't serving you to know this about yourself right now, it
Right.
might feel like you got something, but I've watched people go on these journeys where I've warned them not to and come back and go into this depression lull. They've
Yeah.
had this real high of like, oh my God, I've figured this and this out about myself. And then they have 6 months of really, really hard time with themselves emotionally because their
Oh,
body wasn't ready to hear it
good
and their
spirit. Yeah.
spirit. So basically it disrupts the spirit. That's what I'm saying.
Right, right, right. So it's hard. It's really hard. I think that you're right about like in the morning and then go inside instead of outside because
Yes.
that's what that is.
Yeah.
People feeling that void and then filling it with whatever they're hearing around them, social media, quick fixes. We don't want this feeling. We want to get rid of it now. Go do what's it called? Like ayahuasca or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Right? Um, yeah. I already know that. Like I have to, I'm not in charge. Like something else is in charge. And it knows when I'm ready for things and when I'm not. When I hear something, but then really hear it for the first time, also, like I can't control it. I could read books, I could listen to podcasts, but if I'm not ready to hear it, it just bounces right off of me. And I've
Yeah.
learned to honor that. I've learned to
Right.
honor that. But I keep on finding these new we keep changing, right? So all our things and needs keep changing, or the way we receive things, the way we process things changes. Like, yeah, we have our personality from beginning to end, but there's something that keeps changing in us, like our biology or something. I guess like, like age, our brain can handle things better when we're older. You have like what's it called? Kabbalah, you're not supposed to read until a certain age, right? So things are really also depending on the time, and it's such a journey because I feel like I don't know, like I have to figure this out myself. Every time I feel like I
Right.
got it, ah.
But here's the thing, and this is why this book is really important also, is that the fundamentals are always the same. We always know that if we want that clarity, and as you said, it's like sometimes we'll feel it as a void, and it's not a void, it's an empty slate. We get that clarity in the morning. It's that clarity. And the problem is because we're in a life experience where there's so much reaction and opinion, the first thing we do is we react instead of sit with it. And um like one of the biggest, like let's say even brachas that Shabbos gives us or spirituality and Yiddishkeit give us in general is this idea that we can rest and digest. Like the week, throughout the week, it's first of all, it's like part of the bracha that you've gotten from Shabbos, but you're preparing for Shabbos. Like you do the actions day to day. You work like physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. You come to Shabbos, and then there's that stillness. And for some people, that stillness is a place, like I know for myself, when my practice wasn't a good practice, Shabbos would come and Shabbos was a living hell. And it was an outcome of part of my experience in the week or the lack of the education that I had, even being, from and thing, I didn't have enough material to understand how to receive Shabbos in a way where it was pleasurable. And then there's the times I feel like all of us as teenagers kind of, we just sleep the bagel and just, we check out. Shabbos came and we check out.
Yeah.
But then the practice of Shabbos really even in itself is this thing of like being able to absorb and feel nurtured and kind of really take in that all the goodness, right? And it's a nurturing space. But the thing is if we don't do that preparation, it'll never be there for us. And
Mm.
then when we get that second neshama, we start feeling irritated because all of a sudden, and we start running. And that's why, like, you have like clubs and like parties and all this stuff goes on Friday night, Shabbos. Everyone wants to run on Shabbos because the
Interesting.
people, yeah, because you got a neshama yisera, you got more. It's like somebody Hashem gave you this double. It's like this double neshama, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So like that's why there's so much anxiety Friday afternoon for everybody because this neshama is descending, and that's why there's chaos in every home Friday
Wow,
afternoon.
that's so
Yeah,
crazy.
because the Yetzer Hara is trying to like work its way through, but for us, it's that time where we have to like stop and
Yeah.
be in a position to let ourselves receive the nurturing. And if we think of any nurturing experience, we have this every time. We don't want to go to sleep. We don't want to eat healthy. Like we don't want to do any of it. But then when we do it, we're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better about myself. And so
Yeah.
with the neshama and the nefesh is that emotional component. We have to refine the nefesh's kind of experience for when it comes to like all these emotional stuff that we suffer through and
Right.
struggle with. It's just it's a kind of something to just approach and like
Yeah.
go down that road of like, okay, if we're finding ourselves in these depressing states, whatever that is, or it's anxious, it's like instead of saying, oh, I need to work more, I need to this, ask yourself, okay, what if I'm looking at my nefesh, what is that? What about me right now is my nefesh not happy, right? And and I think that's, I'm saying I have a feeling that in this book we're gonna tap into it anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And with that, I think yeah, you can make your last comments and we'll get
Yeah.
and I'll
Well,
send
I
you
know I
the
like
rest of the pages. Yeah, but go
I
ahead.
I like what you said that the morning might feel like a void, but it's just a clean slate. Like I
Yeah,
just love that thought because it gives it like a different way of looking at it and not so
yeah.
scary. I like that. And also one more thing, like I don't feel the extra neshama come in, but I definitely feel when it's leaving after Shabbos. So it's like,
And you know what? It's I think that kind of goes to a place where like we never know a good thing until it leaves.
Oof. Stop being so smart, Esther. Okay.
I'm not. It's just we learn things. We learn things.
Okay. All right,
All
let's
right.
get into it. I also let me just mention that I have to zoom out at 9:15, but you guys could
Yeah,
continue.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
we're good. I mean, we're good with time. Okay, so it looks like we might be able to finish the we're still on 25. Do you
Yeah.
have that, or do you want me?
I do have 25. You sent it to me. I'm just
Okay,
going
so
to.
and then I sent you yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. All
Do
right.
you
Do you
want
want
me
me
to
to
do it?
read? Or
Yeah,
you want to
sure.
read?
So we're starting at a person must, you know what,
Ah,
I'll read the rest of 25 and then you can kind of,
sounds good.
okay, good. So a person must therefore be very careful when dealing with general principles. He should be very precise in examining their concepts, relationships, and connections, as well as their manner in which one concept is inferred from the other. Is it inferred? Inferred, yeah, okay. Um, from the beginning to the end. If one does this, he will be successful and gain insight. Taking all of this into consideration, I have written this small book. My intent was to set forth a general principle of Jewish belief and religion, expounding them all in a way that is clearly understood, to provide a complete picture free of ambiguity and confusion. The root, the root, the roots and branches are presented according, according to their place in the general scheme, so that each one can be put to heart and be grasped with the greatest possible clarity. This book provides a basis which will make it much easier for you, its readers, to attain knowledge of God through the Torah and its um exposition
Exposition.
exposition, so that all of the Torah's secrets will be within your grasp, which is God's blessing um that that he bestows upon you.
Ah.
Yeah, you can continue from there if you
Oh,
want.
okay.
Yeah.
First of all, he wrote, I have written this small book. It's anything
Mhm.
small. So that was like an understatement. I have worked to arrange these concepts in the order that seemed most suitable and in language considered most appropriate to provide a complete picture of what I deem necessary. You should therefore go through this work carefully, diligently, remembering each fact until you find use for it. Do not overlook any detail. I know, that's why you hire Esther to read it. For you may be neglecting a vital concept. Read each word carefully. Try to grasp the essence of each idea and remember each thing accurately. You will then attain the greatest benefit and gratification from this book. Yep.
You
Like,
can continue, yeah.
I have called this book the way of God, Derech Hashem, since it speaks of God's ways as revealed by his prophets and taught in his Torah. These are the ways in which God directs both ourselves and everything else he created. This book is divided into 4 sections. The first discusses the general basis of all existence and its details. The second section deals with God's providence, the third with prophecy, and the fourth with religious observance. Can I skip the fourth one? I'm kidding. And now,
It'll be your choice. It's all your choice.
and now, fellow seekers of God, go on your way. May God be with you, giving your eyes to see and ears to hear the wonders of his Torah. Amen. May this be his will. Wow.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
So I'll challenge you to the observation part. You're saying the observance. The observance is just being observant in the sense of an observation.
What
He's
do what do
asking you to do anything.
the fourth section. Oh, okay. No, you know why? Because like I'm thinking about, are we gonna go back to Papa school and learn the rules again? You know what I mean? I
No,
don't know.
we're going back in time. When did he write this book? Like we're going back in time. We're not doing Papa, we're going back.
We're going back before
Oh,
Papa. BP.
there you go. But I think the most important part of this is knowing that even how to formulate a thought process, knowing how to formulate an understanding. Because
Mm,
for so many of us, you talked about understanding before, and there's different ways of understanding things. You have a way of understanding something where you're like, it's basic understanding.
yeah,
But then you have another way of understanding things where it depends on where your emotional, your spiritual, your physical disposition is, right? So if you're in a good mood that day, your understanding of something, or if you're more perceptive or receptive, you're
yeah.
going to understand something different than if you're in a negative space. So I
Mm,
think it's when he's talking about learning about all the details, again, at first it feels like we're learning to drive, you know,
yeah.
even though they don't want us to. But yeah, but I think at the end of the day, it's once you kind of put all the pieces together, you start to understand like, oh, these are the pieces that are needed for me to be able to be in a position where I have a good relationship and a positive relationship with my creator, our creator.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I could relate a little bit in like a little tiny section of my life where I went through so many years of therapy. I'm still in therapy. And at one point I was talking to somebody, someone that I like, just like someone I know. And for the first time, I really was able to hear her. And I was so present that I was able to really listen and properly respond. It was so profound. I called my therapist. I'm like, I actually heard someone for the first time at age 39. And I thought I was such a nice person. Like I'm always like there for people and I wasn't. The music was so loud in my head and I was not. I was in the past and the future, skipping the present. It's impossible to actually hear someone when you're like still in your trauma and whatever. So I thought that was interesting. Oh my God, Lonnie's on.
Hi.
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the biggest, the greatest powers when it comes to like even yoga. Like like when I was learning and training for yoga, like part of yoga is learning how to balance. And you cannot stand on one foot if you are thinking a thousand thoughts.
Yeah.
You
It
know, you
forces
can't,
you to be there
yeah, it
in the
forces
moment.
you to be completely present and it keeps on bringing you back. Whereas it's like if you're not going to be completely present, you're going to fall over,
Yeah.
And so you were just saying about the concept of observance, right? Because the last thing he said, and it's interesting that he brings that up in the Hakdama as the last piece of
Yeah.
observation.
Yeah.
And an observation, like one thing we learned in yoga is the observer changes the observed. And like how does that work? And it's just like when we are in a place where we're able to really observe something properly, that is the purpose of life. And that is the purpose of our relationship with God is to observe.
Yeah.
And like everything in yoga, right? Like you move, the way you prepare your body, right? You kind of light that fire, you warm the body up in a way where you can be, flexible enough to kind of move, right? Because you're only as flexible as your spine. And they say your brain is only as flexible as your spine in the sense that when you can't move and you can't bend, then you struggle with even flexibility in your relationships.
Isn't that crazy how it's all connected?
Yeah, and it's fascinating. And that's kind of, I think, when it comes to our practice, a religious practice as well, this is like so important. And when we understand these parts, then it's all about an observation. And as you said, it's just
Yeah.
like you were in that place where you told your therapist you can listen. You were able to
And it
listen.
felt so good. It felt so good to
Yeah.
hear someone else fully. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of this world is such a beautiful place, and if we just shut up and listened, you know?
And listen, that should be a song. Also,
Yeah.
when did the word observe, like just to watch from a distance, and then observing Shabbos, observing, being observant Jew, how did that word get in there?
So it's sh the word shomer, shomer Shabbos, shomer Torah mitzvos. It's the shomer, as in that's it's the observer. I don't know
But
how it got in there exactly, but
now
it's a
it
big
has a
part of it.
different connotation. It means you have to abide by the rules and keep it that way. So that,
Right. So I think that's why we break down definition. Like I'll ask you, what does that mean to you? So I think for a lot of us when we grew up with kind of that being the definition, but I think it has to evolve because it's
hmm,
not sticking. It's not working for
right.
most people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. You definitely make me think of things I never thought of before, Esther. Yeah.
Same. You
Yeah.
do the same for me.
Really?
Yeah, sure, of course. We wouldn't be doing this if that
I
wasn't the
guess.
case.
I have this fight with Lani all the time also.
Oh,
You know, like
okay.
I think she's amazing, she thinks I'm amazing, and we're both like not coming to an agreement.
Well, everybody's amazing. Thank you all
Everyone's
for
amazing.
showing up
Everyone's,
here. So we
yeah,
finished the Hakdama, we finished the introduction, which I'm really proud of all of you for showing up and for us for showing up. And I'm very excited into going to chapter 1 next
oh
week.
my God. I'm a little nervous actually. It's like this is the
To
real
really enter.
stuff. It's
I
the real
know.
stuff. And also like my fear of learning things, like the real root reasons. Like I'm excited. Like my nefesh, neshama, and all the spiritual and physical beings connected, combined, are all cheering. They want to hear this. They're hungry. The only, the only thing is that once something actually makes sense, I'm afraid I have to keep it. Like you're gonna say, like, oh, you really have to use two sinks. I don't know if I'm ready.
The only thing I'll ask you is to observe, as in like be
Just
aware. It's
curious.
that connect. Yeah, it's the thing is we focus on the wrong, like when we don't understand fundamentals,
Yeah.
it's like going in, it's people saying, think of what you just said from somebody that has never experienced a good yoga class.
Right.
They'll
Right.
say some
Oh,
dumb
that's such
line.
a good analogy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like when you understand a concept correctly, you're in a place where it's like, no, that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like, yeah, that's that. But we can
That
open
was
it up to the
beautiful.
public. We have a few
Yeah,
minutes
yeah, yeah.
before we
Open.
have to
I have.
run.
Okay.
Here, hold on.
Also,
I'm gonna just
Lonnie, I have